Hi, everyone. This is European Blockchain Convention number 11. We're here in Barcelona this morning with Erald Ghoos. Good morning, CEO of the OKX Europe.
Yeah, great being here in Barcelona for the European Blockchain Convention.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's always great being here.
Barcelona is one of my favorite cities in Europe.
Oh, 100%. The hospitality, the food, the architecture. It's a great place to be.
Yeah. So listen, OKX has been a household brand in crypto. I mean, everyone knows that it becomes so popular. It's much more, than exchange. The popularity of the wallet is insane. How do you see the position of OKX, in bringing in the next 100 million users to crypto from a history?
Absolutely. So indeed, we are already on a global level. OKX, we are always like somewhere number 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? Depend on how you measure the size of a company like ours. You can do that based on the number of users, the assets under management, the geographical coverage, the number of employees, the number of financial licenses, which is now a hot topic, these days.
Yeah.
So always we're like number 1, number 2, or number 3 on a global level. We have been in the space already since 12 or 13 years, which is like a very long time. Back then under different brands, but we have evolved over the time into OKX and the global household name that we are now. 3 to 4 years ago, there was a fundamental change in this whole crypto industry. Before, it was more of a wild west kind of unregulated environment. The only limitation to product and innovation was our minds, right? Regulators had to step in. They had to build safeguards for keeping users and companies safe from any wrongdoings. So then bringing it closer to Europe, we then also started to apply for the famous MiCA license, which we are now having already since earlier this year. And ever since then, we are now growing and scaling our business throughout all Europe. So in that sense, to answer your question, how we are going to get to the next 100 million of users is trust. Now, by having this regulatory stamp of approval and being recognized as a reputable financial industry player, that also allows for more people who were before a little bit hesitant about this asset class and about crypto in general and about exchanges, to give them more comfort about these companies who have this MiCA license. They're regulated. They're applying with all the rules that are laid out by our home regulators. So I think this is the first step of us and, the industry gaining more users, allowing for more adoption to happen. Trust is one thing. The other thing is less friction, being perceived as a local player, as a local competitor. So how do we do that? Is by having this MiCA license. We as a global exchange can now talk to local banks, can now talk to local payment providers. We can talk to local eID solutions. We can talk to data brokers that can all help with providing less friction when customers want to onboard on our platform, right? They don't have to provide their proof of address anymore because we can, with the consent of the users, reach out to some data brokers. We can read data and identity information from their electronic ID. That all helps with allowing users with less friction and more trust to be onboarded on our platform. Now also we are implementing right now in Europe all the different local popular payment methods in Europe. All the local eID solutions. Recently, now specific for Spain, where we are now in Barcelona, we recently implemented Clave, which is like the popular local eID solution. This also demonstrates that we're really focused on giving users in Europe the local feel, the local experience to our products. So I think that is one step that will help with onboarding the next 100 million. Then also decentralization, DeFi. A lot of people, they want to keep control over their own assets. They want to be their own custody. They want to be their own bank. Now with the new technology on DeFi being much more accessible, because if you look into like a year, 2 years ago, DeFi was a little bit of a clunky instrument, right? Now with OKX, with our DeFi wallet, which is world-class, it allows much more accessibility, user-friendliness, and security, and self-control over your assets. And we do believe that on a global level, DeFi will be more driving the future and will probably also help with onboarding not next 100 million, but I do believe the next 1 billion, users on DeFi.
In what period of time, like, do you think these numbers won't come together?
That is difficult to assess. Now, I think also if we look into some numbers that were published, I think it was yesterday or the day before, there was this graph where they now see that the first, on a global level, 4.7 or 4.8% of the global population is now a crypto holder. If we now take that back to the adoption of the internet, which was like 20, 30 years ago, from that moment, once you reach this critical 4-5%, then you go into the hockey stick growth.
Exponential growth.
Correct. That's like the hockey stick growth that things go like parabolic. I think we're now going to enter into this space. Regulation is much more welcoming. We see also across the Atlantic, the administration in the US being much more open now to crypto. There's going to be like more of a competitive race between the US, Europe, Asia, in terms of who is going to be the leader in crypto. I hope that in Europe, we're not going to lag behind on what is happening in the US and in Asia now. So I do believe that that next 1 billion adoption, I think it's going to be rather soon.
Right. That's also bringing me to my next question, because 2025 was slightly volatile and you're seeing a very bright future ahead of us. Do you think 2026 will be the year where these things come together, or are we looking at a little bit more of like a longer period?
So now if we look into the markets, right, like not this weekend, but like the previous weekends, there was a little bit of some uproar in the markets when there was like a small crash and some things that happened in the industry. I also do believe now that the industry is coming stronger out of this. There is some lessons that we are learning, or that the industry is learning. I think also it will resonate a little bit more with the public. Now, when it comes to that level of adoption, I do believe also that particularly for Europe, MiCA is very instrumental. What we personally from OKX point of view is we have also now obtained a MiFID license, right? Because under MiCA, what we can do is allowing for buy, sell, hold of crypto assets. We also see the demand from a lot of users outside who want to more go into a leverage type of product, structured products, for more advanced users, for more advanced traders. So for that, we now have also obtained a MiFID license that also allows us to offer a much wider product scope and product offering. So in that sense, I do believe, there is much more innovation now coming as well, much more product offering. So in that sense, I do think we're very well positioned in Europe.
100%. Again, a household name that's probably going to carry its weight through the next couple of years. Thank you so much for joining us today. Anything else you would like to add or tell our viewers?
No, really great and grateful to be here. It's a very strong brand name that you have established over the years, the European Blockchain Convention. Proud to be a sponsor of this, and looking forward next year to be again a sponsor of this amazing event.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.